everyone, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It, where I go around looking for supplies that will be beneficial to artists to make them either faster or just make the artistic experience more enjoyable. Now, today we are going to a traditional medium again, and it is kind of special to me because these came from Germany. I went to a store called Action Markt when I was visiting my mom in Germany, and they had all kinds of supplies and stuff at a discount, at a budget. It was insane. So I went and picked up these twin markers. Now, I got a whole lot more for my son, so he has all the rest of the super markers. They've got colors all over, very wide range of colors, but these are the ones that I kept. I don't know why, but there's some yellows, and the ones that are interesting to me are metallics. Like, I'm really interested to seeing how they work out. These twin markers are from Decotime, and they remind me a lot of the Shinhan Art touch markers, but the thing is that these packs were like $2 a piece. And so I'm really interested to see how these hold up, how they blend, and if these off-brand markers are, if they're worth it. All right, let's go check them out. All right, so the first thing that we need to notice about the twin markers from Decotime is the packaging, right? It's very simple, straight to the point. You get to see the colors. There's no questioning what you're actually going to get. You see it, you can pick it, and I think that's actually a really cool thing, to where you can go, oh well, I really just need this red or this marker, this metallic one, or these yellows. I think that's really cool, and it's not you went to the store and they have a huge display and it's all individually packaged. This is how they've done it, so that you can pick more or less what you actually want. So let's go ahead and break into these, and yeah, let's get started. Let's see what these are all about. And crack these open. Alright. So the feel of these, the outside feels a bit plasticky, but it's simple design. Mostly you see this repeated again and again, this little rectangular size, and it seems pretty good. There's not a really big snap on it. I'm worried about the tip. Let's see that. The tip looks good, but I can see that the color itself is looking really odd. And okay, these are the metallic ones. So you see how there's that little discoloration in there? So it must be the metallic working. Okay. That's better. Yeah, so they look fine so far. A regular chisel tip and bullet point, right? There's a snap. So try them out. Try them on this page that we skipped. All right. Oh, that's a bright yellow. Came out greenish. I wonder how it'll dry. But the color itself came out real nice, right? So the color itself was really nice. So one of the things that I'm noticing with the bullet point is that the minute you put the actual tip down, it puts a bit of an ink blotch. So I don't know if you guys can really see that, but they're little dots. They're little dots at the very beginning, right? So that's not as cool. I don't like that. But it does seem to blend really well, and if the bullet point has any indication of what the actual color is going to be when it's dry, then that is a very bright yellow. So I'm interested to see how it's going to dry. So this might be one of those ones where seeing the color, you just have to know. So you're going to have one of those color charts so that you can absolutely know what the color is going to be before you put it down, because otherwise you'll get freaked out like I did. I was like, that's not yellow. All right. So the ink flow on these are fantastic. I have to say, it's like that's really nice. Like the ink just comes out real nice. So these they're not bad, and they're not bad at all. So I guess as long as you start doing it with the circles, the bullet point, as well as the chisel tip come out pretty fine. It's just if you're trying to do straight lines, right? If you're trying to do straight lines, that first dot is going to be a lot heavier. A lot more ink comes out at the first dot than with the rest of the line. And from what I can see so far is that the colors do change drastically, because I had this is a pastel green, the one that I just used right here, and that one is coming out orange, but it might dry a little bit differently. And then I have a Canaria yellow, which is this one, which also came out a lot darker than when it dried. So I'm gonna put some extra color down to it so you can see once again what the color looked like before it dried. So that's the color before, like when it's wet, that's the color. But as you can see, what it's drying to is something a lot brighter. So that's really interesting. And this one's a fresh yellow. So it's really interesting to see just how dark it comes out of the marker initially. But as far as what it dries like, I haven't had these markers at all, so I don't really know what they're gonna dry like, but it definitely looks as though you need to have some type of chart to ensure the colors, right? Because the colors that are on the cap don't exactly match the color that's coming out of the ink or coming out of the marker. So that's an interesting thing to know. Now we're gonna move on to these metallic ones, because I'm very interested. Normally these kind of metallic markers just don't work, right? They come out and they're weird, but let's see, because I'm impressed on how the ink comes out. So maybe they've cracked the code. Oh wow, whoa, that's silver. I mean, once you get the ink flowing, that silver definitely does come out. But with like any ink, with any marker that actually has metallic in it or something like that, it builds up. So, but I think that seeing the bullet actually really works. So the bullet tip I think works better than the chisel tip. But I mean, it might be that this one's a little dry, because I see that it kind of breaks itself apart as you move it. But I have to say, I'm actually pretty impressed with these metallic ones so far. That came out pretty nice. Let's check this one. So I mean, these are more like paint markers, and so it seems as though they're better served if you actually do it like most people want to. You don't actually put it in circles, so it's a one shot, you pull it out and there's your. So I think that it might, so these actually kind of work kind of cool for signatures. I don't know, like on what paper so far it seems like it would work, but I think that trying to actually blend these is not going to work, because it is mostly, like you can tell, like it starts dropping off little bits of fibers, and I can't say that it's pulling up the paper, but you can tell that it is putting down a lot of like paint ink. So it seems as though it's actually pretty cool to like write with. This one you had to get the ink running. They all seem to have these metallic ones, and once again, it might just be because I got an old batch, or that they're, you know, like budget markers, I don't know, but they seem a bit dry, right? But it's still putting out a lot of ink. These are some cool colors, like I like this color, but it's not a blendable thing. So, and for someone who doesn't like streaks, these metallic ones aren't necessarily working. I think the silver one so far has been the best, and you know, that's really cool that it's working that way. But I think that the metallic ones are more of a gimmick. It looks kind of cool. Maybe if you want to sign something like that, it'll work. I'm gonna try this rose gold metallic. Yeah, see, all of the metallic ones kind of have this streak like going on, right? Where it's not fully there, so you'd have to go over it. The problem is that you can't really go over it. And this one just isn't. This one just isn't really a good marker. It just seems like this one might be dead. So I don't know. I like how these are drying. Like they have a nice, they dry really nice, and they dry metallic, and it looks like, you know, you're like, oh, these are really special markers, but it's mostly streaky. So I think that if you're trying to do something like, you know, big signs or something, right? You're trying to sign your signature, right, with some type of metallic look, I think these would work really well. But once again, I don't know if it's because it, you know, I got them at like a discount store, or that they're just dry, right? But the metallic ones are all really kind of drying out, and I've never really had a lot of luck with metallic markers or pens or anything like that, so they all kind of dry out, but they do have a nice little look to them. I don't know if these metallic ones are really worth it, but I have to say though, these are actually looking kind of nice, right? These colors, they dried really evenly. They dried real evenly. Not the colors that I would say are, you know, they're not actually the ones that I would say that they are. You know, like this is almost like a neon yellow. All right, and I don't know if you can actually tell that with the camera, but it is definitely a very bright yellow. This one says that it's a pale green, you know, and that's got a nice, like almost tannish color to it. And fresh yellow has a lot of orange in it. But like I said, if you know that going in, like if you know that ahead of time, and you're like, oh, well, these are the colors that I'm using, then I think that it would really work. So I think that there might be something here with, if you're trying to be like, oh, well, I don't have a ton of money, but I want to get some markers. I think that these could actually do the trick, right? Just gonna scribble something real quick here, try and see how we can get it to look with some, you know, some drawing space. You know, okay, I'll do something here. Alright, so we just got done testing the twin markers from Decotime, and I have to say, I'm actually really impressed by these markers. So, I mean, this image, right? So that's the one we got. And the ink, it dries really nice. It flows really nice. You know, I mean, I'm actually really surprised at how well these markers did. Now, the metallic ones were kind of poop, right? They didn't work as well as they could have. Now, the problem could have been that they dried out, right? And I just got a bad batch and it wasn't working, but it was every single metallic marker. The ink did not come out of it. I bought these all at the same time. So, I mean, there's an array of factors that could have made the metallic ones really not as impressive. Like, those are not the ones, I wouldn't get those again. Like, those are not worth it to me, even though they were like $1.50. I mean, because they just didn't work, right? And so, and it caked it on, and it looked more like a Sharpie, you know, where you're just trying to write on it, and that's not what I need as far as trying to be a marker artist, right? So having it so that it cakes on, I think it would be cool if it was, you know, wet and it didn't actually cake up and stuff like that. But I think that's really, really hard to pull off. But I wouldn't be purchasing those again. But the other ones, like these yellow ones, the regular ones, these were actually really good. They were really good. The only issue, there are two things that I would mention about them. One was the fact that it's really hard to get a nice edge to it, you know, like pointy edge, because that ink, you know, it bleeds a little bit at the tip. So the minute you put it down, it bleeds. And so I think it would take a little bit of getting used to, but you could definitely make it work. And the other one is the color when it's wet is nothing like the color when it's dry. And so that's something that you would definitely have to keep in mind when using these, because if you just go off of what it looks like when it is wet, you would be sorely disappointed, because, you know, the Canaria yellow was, I mean, it was so dark when it was wet, and then it was so bright when it was dry. So you would definitely have to use a chart for these so you knew, because even the colors on the cap are not really a good indicator of what the color will be once it's dry. But those are things that normally happen, right? You normally have that with markers. You have to wait until they dry to really get the color that you want. But these are, I would say, on an extreme measure, because if I put down a red with some other markers, I know that it'll get a little lighter, but these almost change colors. So you just need to know what color you're putting down and you'll be fine. So are these twin markers worth it? Absolutely. These budget markers are really, really good. And so I'd highly recommend getting those if you are trying to start off and you're like, man, I really want some markers that'll flow nicely, that, you know, will really work for me in the short run. I do believe that the nibs are going to break apart really quickly, but like I said, they cost me possibly $2 for 3 markers, and so that is a really good deal. So these are absolutely worth it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if there are any products that you'd like me to review, please drop me a comment and I will put it on the list and we will get to it. Thank you guys so very much for watching this video, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to check out some of my other videos, click on the link on your right. Or, if you're interested in a more behind-the-scenes and personal look at what I do on a day-to-day basis, please click on the link that leads you to the vlog. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next video.